Today I have the keys to the 2020 Shelby GT350. Huge shout out to Mooresville Ford for providing the sports car for me today. Definitely check out their website because they have a lot of inventory in stock. But this model here is finished off in iconic silver and it has an MSRP right around $65,000. But let's go ahead and jump into today's review by starting up underneath the hood, where you'll find the 5.2 liter flat plane crank V8. This is paired to the Tremec 6-speed manual transmission. It produces 526 horsepower around 7,500 RPM and 426 pound-feet of torque around 4,700 RPM. All of that power is sent to the rear wheels. This weighs in right around 3,700 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in just under 4 seconds, all the way up to its top speed of 173 miles an hour. And with a fuel capacity of 16 gallons, you can expect to see around 14 miles per gallon in the city and 21 out on the highway. This has a wheelbase of 107.1 inches. Its overall length is 189.6. It has a width of 81.9 and a height of 54.2 inches. With all those specs out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the exterior walk around on the GT350. I'm going to start up top with the hood and the stripes that run down it. You can see they're finished off in white with a magnetic accent, and it gives it a really nice color combo against the iconic silver. Of course, the stripes run all the way down to the rear of the vehicle, as you'll see here later, but it also goes all the way down to the lower section of the bumper. Also on the hood, there's a functional heat extraction vent, and then very nice lines that run around it just to add to that aggressive look. As we make our way down to the headlights now, this has HID headlights, and then the DRLs are on the inside of the housing. They're split into 3 different sections there just to give it a really nice look. We have the turn signal mounted just underneath that. And then there's also a lot of mesh to provide maximum cooling to this V8 engine. You can see the grille up top with the GT350 badge on the left side. There's more mesh running down the lower section, and then Shelby is spelled out. Just gives it a very clean look. I love how low and wide the top grille is just to add to that aggressive look. But that's going to finish it up for the front end of the GT350. As we make our way to the sides, you'll see these black wheels. They measure 19 by 10.5 up front and 19 by 11 in the rear. They have a really nice multi-spoke design to them. And then talking about the brakes and the rotors, this has 6 piston Brembos up front with 15.5 inch rotors and 4 pistons in the rear with 15 inch rotors. You'll also notice that the side mirrors are blacked out as well to match the wheels. They have the integrated turn signal, they're power folding as well. You can see the stripe up top on the roof, of course, continues down just to give it a really clean look. And then just in front of the GT350 badge, you can see there's a functional air inlet, and then that also starts a really nice line that runs the height of the door handle. You can also see there's one on the lower section of the door. From this angle here, it just gives it a really nice look. I love the contoured lines. We even have a little bit of a line in the rear section. And then there's also one more line on the top fender arch for the rear tire. This also has magnetic ride as well. And then making our way to the rear end of the GT350, you can see the massive fixed wing just has a really aggressive presence to it. This has a backup camera. Of course, you can see the stripes go all the way down to the lower section of the bumper. This has an independent rear suspension, which will also help minimize body roll and improve handling. It has a 3.73 torsion limited slip axle. You'll also notice it has the 3D sequential turn signals. So you can see the depth that these have, just giving it a really cool design. And then of course with the turn signal, which is a really unique feature to see in the car industry, and I really like it on the back of the Mustang. And then down below we have the quad tip stainless steel dual exhaust. Now it's time to jump into the interior on the GT350. I have it locked right now, and with the key in my pocket, I'll just grab the door handle and you will hear it automatically unlock. Of course, you can use the door handle to lock the vehicle as well. But now as we take a look at the door panel, you'll see there's really nice suede on the upper section of it, along with white stitching. We have the lock and unlock with a really nice brushed aluminum release handle. You can see the window controls and the side mirror adjustments are just below that, along with a grab handle, some nice chrome trim. This also has a 9-speaker audio sound system and a little bit of storage in the lower section of the door. You'll also notice that the armrest has really nice leather, and then you have more of that stitching just to contrast the suede up top. So it's a really nice looking door panel. As we take a look at the interior now, you'll see Ford Performance down on the door sill, and then this one is spec'd with the Recaro Sport Bucket seats. They have a really nice two-tone cloth design to them, really nice insert with the GT350 badge, and you can see the cutouts up top to add to that race-inspired design. Really nice bolstering support on the sides with Recaro spelled out. We have the control for incline and recline, and then the bar up front can slide the seat forwards and backwards. But now moving on to the steering wheel, we have a combination of Alcantara, which pretty much surrounds the entire steering wheel. It has a flat bottom design, and at the bottom it has solid leather. There's also a solid leather stripe on the top center. On the right side of the steering wheel, you'll see all the volume controls along with tuning and your voice commands. Underneath that, we have the steering wheel button. So just by pushing on that, you can configure the steering wheel between sport, comfort, and normal, which is really cool to see. We can click on the suspension button, and you have sport mode and track mode. And then just by clicking on the plus and minus here, we can go through the different driving modes. So you have track, drag strip, you can go to slippery, there's also normal and sport. So it's really cool how you have the option to go through all of those different modes. Some of those are only for the track as well. And then over on the left side, we have cruise control along with your Bluetooth, and then you can use the OK button and all of these dials to go through more of that information. So you can see right now we're on the track app, so you can look at your accelerometer, your timing. You have line lock, so you can do burnouts at the drag strip and warm up those rear tires. We can go over to system status, so you can look at everything basically that I just went over, and you can see if your traction control is on or off, what driving mode you're in for suspension and steering, along with the exhaust note. We can go back to the main menu and go to other settings like your trip and fuel. You have your gauge mode, so you can see your miles till empty. Along with your speedometer, you can look at your tire pressure, all of your vital information for the engine. We can easily go back to driver assistance, so you can go to the technology that's offered and turn that on and off, which is nice. And then you have settings down at the bottom that you can go through. So it's very easy to go through all of this information. And then over on the left side, you'll see the tach and engine temperature. On the right side, we have the speedometer and the fuel gauge, surrounded in really nice brushed aluminum trim pieces just to give it a really nice gauge cluster design. Making our way to the left side of the steering wheel, we have the headlight controls along with one air vent. You'll notice right in the center, we have the Bang and Olufson logo for the sound system that this vehicle has. And then just in the middle here, we have two air vents. We have a oil pressure gauge and an oil temperature gauge as well, so that way you can view that information. And then just below that, we have the nav screen. You can see on the bottom is basically all of the presets from your audio, your climate, you have your phone and navigation. If we go into climate, you can obviously control the dual zone climate that this has up front. You have all the controls with the fan speed, being able to turn it on and off. We can go into the menu. You have a couple other settings as well. We can go into phone, so when you have that on and paired, and then looking at the navigation, you can get a view for the graphics that it has. Very easy to be able to see where you're going, of course. There's also some apps that you can go into and settings, so you can configure your clock, your Bluetooth, navigation, radio, and everything like that. You can also go to a home screen where you have the navigation on the left side and then audio and phone on the right side, so you can view all of that information at once. Moving below that, you'll see the volume for the radio on the left side, tuning on the right. You have some more buttons to control the radio right in the center. And then just underneath that, we have all of the AC controls. So you have the temperature for driver and passenger. You will see that appear on the upper screen. More recirc controls, fan speed right in the center. Very easy to go through that information if you're not already on the climate controls for the screen up top. And then moving below that, you'll see the engine start stop button on the left side. And then we have some toggle switches for the hazards. You have traction control, your launch control, and then being able to change the exhaust note. So you can go from normal to sport if you want to open up the valves and really hear that aggressive V8 noise. At the very bottom, we have a 12 volt and a USB port and a little bit of storage space. And then as I mentioned earlier, this has the 6-speed manual, finished off with a red ring and red pattern on the top. It's covered in leather around the shift boot and has really short gears. It feels really smooth even driving it over to this location to film, and I like the clutch feel as well. Just has a really nice feeling to it. And then to put the vehicle into reverse to look at the backup camera, I'm just going to lift up underneath it, go all the way to the left and up. You'll see the backup camera up here with the guidelines. It gives you really good graphics as to what's behind the vehicle. Working our way behind that, you'll see two cup holders on the right side, along with the manual parking brake finished off in leather. And then right in the center, we have more leather on the armrest. We can open this compartment up, and it reveals a good amount of storage space, along with a USB and another 12 volt, so you have plenty of room for items to go there. Making our way to the passenger side, you'll see the GT350 along with the chassis number, which is a cool touch. And then just underneath that, we have the glove box. So you have plenty of room for everything that needs to go there. And then we'll go ahead and take one last look at these seats. They have a really nice design to them. And then up top, we have the dome lights, and you can also see the Ford logo on the top of the windshield. Now it's time to hop into the rear seats of the Shelby GT350. I already have the front seat moved forward. All you have to do to bring the backrest up is grab this tab right on the back of it, and of course you can get it into this position. But now at 5'10", hopping into the back seats here, you can see that my head is just up on the roof here. Mustangs in general are not designed to be full 4-seater vehicles, but if you need to use this room, you have the option to do that. I like how they sink down a good bit, so that way it gives you a little bit more headroom, and you have nice bolstering support in the back too. So if you're smaller than me and you can fit back here a little bit more comfortably, you have really nice comfortable seats, and there's also windows on both sides just to bring in a little bit more light. And then of course you have the rear glass here just above your head. They also have a 50-50 split to the backrest, so just by pulling on that tab here, we can fold this down, and that gives you a lot more room into the trunk area. And of course with both sides, that gives you a lot more room. So this is a very versatile vehicle for having extra people or extra storage. And last up, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the rear trunk storage space. You can either use the key fob or push this electronic button at the top of the license plate. You'll hear it automatically unlatch, and then we can go ahead and open it up. You have a lot of storage space, and then as I mentioned earlier, with the back seats folded down, that gives you a lot more room to put in anything that you'd like. You'll see on the left side that it goes out just a little bit, so you can put in any larger items sideways. There's a speaker over on the right side, and then up underneath the floor, you have more room for more hidden storage space, along with a tire kit right in the center. All right, so hopping into the GT350 now. Unfortunately, this is not going to be a road test drive. We're just going to be around the parking lot here for obvious reasons. We want the owner to put as many miles on the vehicle as they can. So basically what I wanted to talk about in this test drive portion is just the feel of being behind the wheel of any Mustang really, but specifically the GT350, and just driving it over to this location here to film. I really like the feel of the clutch pedal and the shifter. It's a very smooth and engaging clutch pedal, and then the shifter, you can just feel that notch get you into the next gear. So it just gives you a little bit more confidence to know that you are in that gear. And it's a very short throw shifter. It has that short throw shifter feeling to it, which is really nice. And then just giving it a little bit of gas here in a second. Has a really nice sound to it. Ooh, sport mode. We're gonna have to go down to first gear here. Just give it a little bit of gas. I mean, and that's just parking lot speeds here. It sounds really good, so I couldn't imagine really opening this up and hearing it. I've been behind the wheel of V8 Mustangs before, and I know they handle really well. And I love that this one has the Alcantara steering wheel. Just has a really nice feel in my hands here. And then real quick, just talking about visibility in a two-door vehicle like this, it's actually really easy to see all around. I like the windows that are in the back, just gives you a lot more visibility over the pillars. They're really not all that bulky, so it's really nice how you can look over both shoulders, of course. Man, I couldn't imagine. You can hear a little bit of pops there. Downshift in a second. I couldn't imagine getting this out on the road. We have some other Mustang review videos if you guys want to check out what it's like actually driving it out on the road. Those will be down in the description below. As far as these seats go though, I really love these bolsters here. They're super aggressive, very comfortable. I love the driving position that you have with the little notches in the steering wheel here. Just gives it a really nice feel, which I really like. And just doing a couple laps here. Suspension is really good. I love that you can go through a couple different driving modes. So you have the track, you can get this out on some back mountain roads. You can even do the line lock. So you can do a standing burnout where it will lock the front brakes, disconnect the rear brakes, and that way you can get the tires warmed up and get this out on the drag strip. So that is awesome that you can get that in a factory vehicle, and this thing is ready to go. I would absolutely love taking this out and just having some fun in it. I'm sure it would not only sound great, but perform well at the same time. Really nice interior. There's not a whole lot of buttons. So it's really all the main things that you need, your AC, all the controls or all the information that you have in that screen there. And you have a couple gauges up top so you can monitor all the vital information. But other than that, it has a really nice interior. I love all the materials. Obviously you have the back seats there if you need it. Man, what a car. Huge shout out again to Mooresville Ford for providing this vehicle for me today. Definitely check out their website. And if you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up. Smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next video.